Welcome to Let's Therapy, where we get real and raw about your mental health, faith, and blended family. We're your hosts, counselors Scott and Vanessa Martindale. Now let's therapy. Hey guys, welcome to the next episode of Let's Therapy. We are Scott and Vanessa Martindale, your hosts, and we are excited to be with you today. Just know that this podcast is not a replacement for therapy.
Yes.
If you find yourself in a situation where you need help, please either dial 911 or contact a local therapist.
Yes.
But we're excited because we're going to be bringing you a little talk today about how to divorce-proof your marriage.
Your marriage,
So I'm talking about how do you stay away from that?
Yes, and we get a lot of questions about this, you guys. And so we, we always ask like, hey, what are some topics that you want us to talk about on our different podcasts? And this was one of the ones for Let's Therapy. And so, we, being a counselor, Scott has been doing marriage therapy for 17 years, and I'm in my master's in marriage and family therapy right now. And we see a lot of people who struggle with infidelity, stepping outside of the marriage, different things that contribute to getting a divorce. And so we just want to offer you some just really practical and tangible things that you can do to help divorce-proof your marriage.
Yeah. So the first thing is, and I've said this probably 100 times in counseling, and I've definitely, we affirm this in our own marriage, is take the word divorce off the table.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Just don't use it in your vocabulary. It's not something that needs to be thrown around kind of wishy-washy. It's not something you threaten your spouse with to get what you want.
Manipulate.
It's not a manipulation tool. So just take it out of your vocabulary. And instead, just reaffirm your commitment to each other.
That's good.
I mean, that is constant. It's like, listen, Vanessa and I may have arguments, but hey, we're married. We're going to stay married.
Yeah.
I love her. She loves me.
Well, and it reminds us in Matthew, standing on the scripture, y'all, Matthew 19:6 says, so they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. So divorce-proofing your marriage, a part of that, and I love that you said that, is taking divorce off the table. Like, you just not even, when you get upset or when you get into an argument, just not even using that word. I think, and we hear this more times than not, that when people start using the word as a threat or a manipulation tactic, it then becomes something that becomes a regular part of your vocabulary. And what you speak, your thoughts turn into your words, and your words then turn into actions. And the enemy will grab a hold of that and use that as a wedge to drive in between you and your spouse. And ultimately, he wants to kill your marriage, you guys. And so taking that off the table and reaffirming your commitment to your spouse is so good. Yeah.
And make sure you take time to invest in yourself. And we talk about that in the sense of your personal relationship with Christ, making sure that you're spending time, and that may look different for each spouse. So don't judge each other by the way that looks, but make sure that you are taking time to either get into the Word, get into some really good, some worship music, your local church, get involved, serve, but make sure you're getting poured into internally.
Well, and we always talk about, yourself, but also your marriage. One of the things that Scott and I do at the beginning of every year is we take a vision retreat, and we're about to take ours soon here in the next couple of weeks. But we take a vision retreat, and we use this tool used by XO Marriage called the Vision Guide that Pastor Jimmy Evans and his wife Karen wrote. And it's amazing, you guys. You go for a weekend, and it outlines all of these questions for you and your spouse to ask together. And they're hard questions. And it's good because it really helps to break down maybe some walls and barriers that you've put up, and to get vulnerable and raw with one another. You write out prayers together. You work on goals for your marriage, but also goals that you want for your family and prayers for your children. It's absolutely amazing. So investing in your marriage is pivotal. Maybe it's that you try to go to one marriage conference a year, setting up those regular date nights. Another thing that we talk about is being in community. You guys, this is so vital to your marriage.
Absolutely. You got to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And that means, and the way we define good people, there's a definition here. So good people are the people who love you, they love God, they love your spouse,
and they are for your marriage.
For your marriage. And those criteria are, you don't bend on those.
Yeah.
So if you surround yourself with people or couples that is their stronghold, you will find yourself in a marriage that is strong.
Yes.
Cannot stress it enough. And you got to be intentional about that.
Yeah.
Good friends don't just fall into your lap.
Yep.
You won't just move into a neighborhood and magically have a neighbor that, I hope you do, but most of the time, we don't know our neighbors.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you have to be intentional. So if you're in a church, you see a young couple that's there with you, maybe the same age, go up to them, friend them. Wives, help your husbands out, because we're not great at making friends. So help each other out. Find friends, get social, find the right they.
Absolutely. And there's so many online communities like Blended Kingdom Families. We love doing community with one another. And, I think another part too is conflict. A lot of people don't know how to have healthy conflict in their relationships. And so you guys, I think this goes hand in hand with getting help, which is seeking outside resources like biblical counseling. We are such huge proponents of marriage counseling, and hence why we're doing this podcast, so that people can understand the benefits and just the good side of what counseling can do for your marriage and your blended family. And so, if you don't know how to practice healthy conflict, and maybe you grew up in a home where there was passive aggressiveness, or where you didn't talk about the things that hurt one another, everything was good, you put on a happy face, everything was positive. Maybe you grew up in a home where there was a lot of anger and there was abuse, and conflict was taken out that way. You have to understand what healthy conflict is to have healthy conflict and to have a healthy relationship. And so partnering with a counselor who can help you and your spouse walk through those things is another tool that you can put into your tool belt that will help you to divorce-proof your marriage.
Absolutely. And guys, don't forget the last couple of things we're going to talk about. Vanessa is going to talk about prayer. Don't forget intimacy in your marriage.
Yes.
Because again, God put you as one flesh. The only thing that separates two people out there randomly dating in a marriage is sex.
Yeah. And
so don't forget to acknowledge the importance of that, both from the needs of men and women.
Yes.
So make sure that if you're busy people like we are, schedule that time, put it on the schedule, whatever you want to do, and lock the door and make sure that you're doing that. But you cannot underestimate the value of making sure that you make time for intimacy. Absolutely.
And then the last thing, you guys, is prayer. And we talk about this a lot. Intimately praying with your spouse, with each other and together is, man, it will strengthen your marriage in so many ways. And again, you guys, this isn't something that, it has to be these long, exaggerant, prayers. I mean, just simple prayers like, God, we need you. God, please protect our marriage today. Just you two coming together and standing on what you are presenting to God and just laying that at the feet of Jesus every day is powerful. And God hears our prayers, you guys, and he will move in them. And so as you're taking these steps to divorce proofing your marriage, making sure that you're praying and covering your marriage every single day.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about a statistic that you want to
set your ground one on. This is a good one.
Less than 1% of couples who pray together daily divorce.
Ooh.
You can do a lot of things wrong, but you grab your wife's hand at night and you pray.
Yeah.
And wives, you grab your husband's hand and you pray.
Yeah.
Because that is the connection of all connections.
Yep.
As a married couple, you are connecting to the Father. And Vanessa, you said it beautifully. Don't judge each other by their prayer life.
No.
I'm a short prayer. I like to and I like to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Vanessa, she takes a little longer.
That's okay.
But you know what? I love it when she prays.
Yeah.
Because she says things and she talks to God in a way with me that I love.
Absolutely. And, you guys, like we read from that scripture earlier, what God has joined together, let no man separate. And so there are so many things in this world that are thrown at us all the time. There are things that are thrown at our marriage, and the enemy hates marriage and family more than anything. So these are just some practical, small steps that you can take every day or throughout the week that can help you to reconnect to your spouse, reaffirm your spouse, and really help strengthen and nurture your marriage as you do this for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. Marriage has been designed for a lifetime.
That's a long time.
Long time.
And it can be great. So, guys, we're excited. Thank you so much for being with us on this episode of Let's Therapy. Guys, tune in next week. We will drop a completely new topic.
Yes.
Have a great and wonderful day.
Be blessed in all that you do.